Life has taught us a lot over the years that we haven't even noticed. Going to school early on put me right on track to becoming a police officer. Since 1994, when I joined the Guard, I have been loyally serving my country. The last few years have really been a test of life. I'm a better person because of them, and I appreciate the world more because of them. But the time I've spent in conflict zones has not been wasted. Right after my last trip, I ran into problems that I couldn't solve by myself. My favorite drug, booze, has turned into a short-term fix. Luckily, I saw how dangerous my behavior was and made the tough decision to face my problem head-on. For me, going through the writing process was one of the most important parts of getting better. When I think back on this trip with a deep sense of gratitude, I realize that I am now working as a detective. The start of our love story was in 1998. In very strange ways, fate brought us together. We were both 42 years old at the time. There was no doubt that it was love at first sight when that spark lit up. It was brave of us to move in together just 2 months after we merged our lives. The person I wanted to marry had been through a divorce. She was taking care of a 4-year-old girl and a 5-year-old boy. At a clothes plant, she worked long hours but wasn't really happy there. I knew she was hungry for more, so I wanted to help her reach her goals. She was able to live a full life and make a big difference in the world after I helped her get a job with the police department. By 2000, we had married and said our vows to each other, making our love official. Everyone will always remember that day as one of the best in their lives. At first, we lived in a service room that my wife was finally given. Over time, our family grew. First, when our much-anticipated son was born in 2007, and then when our beautiful daughter was born in 2011. We decided to move to a new place after the birth of our younger girl. I had already retired at that point. When we moved into my parents' flat, our oldest son moved out, and my daughter from a previous marriage. We lived in a different flat in a different city. Our youngest boy had just started school, and our little girl was in kindergarten. That is, the 4 of us lived together in 2011 after I retired. Because of staff cuts, my wife was also fired for 2 years. It was hard for me to find a job that would last. In addition, things at home have gotten even worse. My mom passed away 7 years ago. Not long after my mother died, my father brought his new girlfriend to live with us. He had a lover before she died. After a very heated argument about this, he left and stopped talking to her. We haven't talked since then. 2 years have passed since I was born. One guy is 39 years old. The other one is 24. Even though we live in the same city, we haven't talked much in the last 10 years. When I retired, my family and I moved in with my wife's parents. My family and I don't get along very well, but we do get along well with my wife's family. Her family is very big, with 7 children, 5 brothers and 3 sisters. But mother-in-law has always told me to keep going, praised me, and kept me safe. I felt the same way about her brothers. In fact, her younger sister stayed with us for a while. Only the people on my wife's side of the family knew about my problems. Since the beginning of the year, my wife's behavior has been changing in small ways. She stopped touching us and started sleeping in the nursery, saying that our daughter was scared about being alone at night as an excuse. Over time, she slowly left our bedroom for good. Being close to each other seemed less like a shared experience and more like a job. Then, in the summer of 2015, I asked her straight out if she was seeing someone else. She laughed it off and asked who would want a boyfriend at 40. She then said that she was having a rough time and needed some time alone. She also said that she wasn't interested in getting close at that time. I tried to be reasonable with myself. Anyhow, who could she be seeing? She cooked, cleaned, did laundry, and took care of the kids all the time at home. In this way, I gave her credit. In January of this year, I took a short break from work because my daughter needed help with the kids for an upcoming institute class. I asked my wife to show me her phone so I could see the amount as we sat down at the table that night. Since I had already sent $470. Out of the blue, she yelled that she hadn't been looking at my phone and that this was her own business. We were both shocked and confused about what could have made my daughter and I act so badly. My wife took her phone off the table, ran to the toilet, and locked herself in while I went outside to smoke. This made no sense to me. I was thrown off balance like a storm had just risen from a calm sea. Of course, this made me very angry. For the past 2 hours, I've begged for my phone. There was a fight, and they knew she was seeing someone else, so they threw her out to her kid. The children stayed at my house. In the whole time we've lived together, I have never looked inside her purse or pocketbook. When she called the next day, she talked about something with the kids, went home, and we made up. Everything went smoothly in bed. The connection was just as strong. There was a split second when I thought my wife looked younger. It was like I had gone back in time to when we first got married and didn't recognize my husband for more than a month. The next day, March 23rd, I got a strange message that upset me. This didn't seem very important to me. In the evening, though, when my husband left to buy bread, I suddenly got very worried and grabbed her purse. There were condoms and other private things there. It caused a lot of trouble. My wife wailed and cried and told me lie after lie that I was a bad person and that this was all for me. We were in bed at night, and I had a hard time ending my dream. Something inside me was tearing me apart. I got my wife's phone as she was leaving for work in the morning, read their WhatsApp chat, and found files that had been deleted. In 2015, I bought my wife some pants to try to make things better between us. There was a video of her entry along with the pictures, which showed her in different poses. When I got really drunk, there were curses, yelling, and insults all around. So I threw her out along with the kids and my oldest daughter's things. It was a night of drinking for me. I spent the whole day cleaning, washing, and generally destroying the flat in the hopes that it would help me feel better and get over my hangover. After that, I spent a lot of time looking for things on the internet to help me get through this. In the evening, my wife came over by herself to talk about everything. She first blamed me for everything and said she would not let me see the kids again. Then she told me the truth: she had become a lesbian, and told her girlfriend about it. She told me that the kids were crying and pleading to go home. They also told her that they loved me. I told her I needed some time to think about what was going on and asked her to take the kids home. Over the course of the next day, Bavri refused to accept she was lying, said she was sorry, and promised her love while holding the phone. It rained tears and people cried again the next day, ways that the soul speaks. In the end, she told me she had been cheating on me since January 2015. I'm not sure what or how I hurt her feelings. After that, the days were very painful. Dan's phone stayed on her hand even though she was on her knees crying and begging me to forgive her. I thought about the year 2015. I saw that we were growing apart, felt bad about it, and tried to bring us back together. I tried to make her happy again by giving her all the extra money we had on toys, flowers, and the other gifts. Going back, I can see that it all seemed like a bad joke, like I was feeding a hole that would never end with my dumb hands. Our family's finances took a big hit because of this waste, but the worst part is that I gave all of my money to the man who has been lying to me for so long. I tried to talk her out of it, told her to talk to a doctor, tried to pass along items I had read online. She laughed at my tries and called me old-fashioned, but she didn't pay attention to me. I even told a few coworkers because I didn't know what to say. The only thing I do wrong is that every month when I get paid, I get drunk, get fuzzy, and rant, putting my problems down and letting my anger run wild. That, however, is nothing compared to what she did. Now, my love for her and the kids is the only thing that keeps me in the real world. But how do you love? How can you stay strong when it looks like everything is going wrong? She said she had been lying for 2 years. I tore myself apart for 2 years trying to be a better wife because I thought my flaws were my own. At the same time, she was making fun of how worried and devoted I was while she played me for a fool. I tell myself that the kids are the most important thing, and I try to focus on them. But the constant swirling of memories can't be stopped. Seeing her makes me feel like I'm going to blow up. The idea of faith has been ruined and broken totally. Things are already bad enough that we have to share a building and work in the same city. I just can't leave and find a safe place to heal my scars. Every day I have to deal with her. Had to face what she did and go through it all again. How am I supposed to let go? What can I do to forgive myself when every cell in my body is screaming in pain? Can I trust anyone again? How can I keep from going completely crazy? I'm stuck in a circle of pain that will never end, and I don't know how to escape.